What's happening, everybody? Hope everyone is having a great weekend. Start off to the great week. We're gonna be doing some training today, and I figured we'd go ahead and go back to some fundamentals and just work on some of the basic strikes of Kali, and make sure we're kind of cleaning up a little bit of mechanics and building some understanding on some of these basic strikes and basic tactics and things. I'm trying to get on here to do some more live training sessions, and hopefully that will help you guys keep training, keep progressing, all that stuff. So if you're going to train with me today, if you're joining me today, make sure to grab either a training bolo or grab your Kali stick. So I'll be training with both today. Alright, so we're going to be getting to it. Hey, what's happening? Yeah, man, good morning. Good morning. So if you're kind of doing something right now and you can't train, then hopefully you'll be able to remember some of this, or if you're sponsored to the channel, you'll be able to re-watch this video later on and then run through some of the stuff that I'm going to be working on today. Hello, what's happening? What's happening? So in Kali, all the strikes that we do here at Kali Center, because I can't teach you what other styles and what other systems and things like that do. I can only teach what we do here at Kali Center, right? I can only teach what I've learned, what works for me, and then what we've decided to put into our training here at Kali Center. Right? I can't teach what someone else is doing at a different school, style, system, or something like that. Obviously, right? So at Kali Center, our Kali, everything is derived off of the bolo, off of the blade. One of these guys, right? Live blade, the real deal. We have to be able to handle one of these. We have to be able to manipulate one of these properly, so that way, we can move around with one of these things at full speed, full power, full intention, all that stuff. So all the strikes, all the training that we do here at Kali Center, it comes off of this. It comes off of the bolo. It comes off the blade. From there, you can put two blades in your hand. You can have one long, one short. Shorten it down to the knife. Lengthen it up to either a longer sword or a spear. Or you can change this thing out for an impact weapon. Or you can take all of these types of movements and you can start incorporating them into your empty hand skills as well. So everything we do comes off of the blade. It's important to know that, because what you can do with the stick versus what you can do with the blade, some of that information transfers over to each other and some of it doesn't. Right? Obviously, you can grab a stick on both ends. You're not going to grab your bolo on both ends. I mean, you can, but that probably is not going to feel too good. All right, so these basic strikes. What are we looking at on these basic strikes? So there's two very, very basic fundamental tactics. So when we're breaking it down today, I want to make this as simple as possible. So we're going to break it down into two basic tactics. We have either cuts or we have thrusts. We're either going to be cutting with the long, sharp main edge of the blade, or we're going to be thrusting with the pointy end of the blade, right? So it's very simple like that. In Kali, I've trained in different Kali styles and systems where they really like to try to confuse you. And I don't know if it's kind of like a tactic to try to entice you to keep coming and paying for their classes and that. But some styles I've trained in, they really try to confuse you and keep you kind of confused and like in awe to keep coming back. And then other styles that I've trained in, they really do try to boil it down, make it very simple, and make it very attainable. And that's what we like to do here at Kali Center. We like to keep it very, very attainable. We want you to be able to learn it, understand it within minutes, and then be able to get out and go train it, practice it, and develop it. Literally within minutes, maybe within a couple of hours. That's really, really important, especially nowadays, because a lot of us that are coming into Kali especially, you know, we're a little bit older. We're maybe in our mid to late 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s plus, right? So we don't have those years of our youth being, you know, 9 years old, 10 years old, when we would absorb simplicity or complexity like a sponge. So we got to keep things simple, and we got to keep things attainable now, right? And very quickly achieved. All right, so it's very simple. We either have cuts or we have rust. So the first thing I want to go through is our different angles of cuts. The primary angle that we have on our cuts that we do here at Kali Center is our diagonal angle. So you guys will see this so much in our videos, in my videos, in the free flow videos, all of our carenza and all those things, right? We have what's referred to as our angle 1 over the right shoulder, our angle 2 over the left shoulder, angle 3 comes up from the right hip, and our angle 4 comes up from our left hip, right? We have these diagonal strikes. We have our 1 cut, our 2 cut, our 3 cut, and our 4 cut right here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4 right there. You know, different styles will tell you to do different things with the left hand. Some people will tell you to hold it up right here at your face all the time. You know, you'll see them kind of doing this more type of kind of jab sparring with the sticks. Usually it's with the sticks, it's not with the blades. But you guys got to remember something. I mean, what they're doing, that's what they're doing. Here at Kali Center, we have our own train of thought. You guys have to remember something, that when you're fighting with the blade, you're not fighting with empty hands. So protecting your head is going to be a different type of skill than keeping your hand next to your face. Okay? Because when you're looking at the bolo, if you're moving around and you're keeping this hand up like you do in boxing, and we have a bolo, first of all, these types of strikes are probably not going to be efficient enough to really stop the aggressor who also has a blade. You know, it's going to probably cause them to bleed if you hit them, but just because they're bleeding doesn't mean that they're going to stop, right? I mean, they still have time. They still got fuel left in them. There's adrenaline. There's different hormones that are going on, and all kinds of things that are going on. That these types of shots right here are not really going to be that effective, right? They may or may not be. With a stick, you know, when you're looking at a stick, these jabbing shots right here, especially if you start hitting, you know, the humerus, somewhere on the body or on the leg, again, these shots may not stop anybody, right? So we need to have these full speed, full power strikes that isn't just going to hit somebody, right? They're going to break things. They're going to break bones. If it's the bolo, we're not going to give them a cut. We want to remove things. So in Kali, when you see, you know, some of these guys that are holding his hand up, and they're kind of like, you've got to keep your hand up, protect your face. You know, this thing is going to cut right through that hand, and it's going to go right through your face or neck anyways. It's like your hand's not even there. So instead of, you know, keeping his hand stagnant, which is really limiting your mobility and your manipulation and what you can do with your weapon, this hand, left hand, should actually be corresponding with the strikes to maximize the momentum generation, the speed, the power, the torque from the torso that you can generate in the weapon. Plus, later on, you know, as you're moving around, you're going to change weapon categories in Kali, right? You're going to advance in your training at some point. So you can't hold your knife up like this, right? That's not good, because you might come out and cut yourself. So the knife, right, that left hand has very specific placements on what it's going to do, so that way you can move your weapons freely, and you're never putting your own body, you're never putting yourself at risk. So, sometimes, you know, that's one of the things, like, if I go back on some of my older videos, and I see some of, like, these kind of newer comments that pop up on older videos, especially my higher viewed videos, you guys, sometimes you gotta ignore comments like that, because Basically, when you come across a comment like that, those are people that have never really experienced Kali. They've never trained in Kali. They've never done any kind of sparring in Kali. You know, they maybe either don't do anything or they spent their martial arts career somewhere else in a different style of martial arts. Certainly not Kali, right? Certainly not with the blade. Okay? They've never moved around with us, right? So this hand, this left hand, it's got to do things. Okay? It can't just sit there in a place that's going to impede your movements, and that it protects your head. Yeah, it's not actually protecting anything though, because it's just flesh and bone against sharp steel, right? Not gonna happen, right? Sticks and stones can break my bones. No, they do break your bones. So, especially when the other person is generating striking mechanics, right? So when we're striking, you're gonna see those angles, those 4 angles. 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? These are diagonal strikes. We start all of our strikes at a full chamber to generate full range of motion. Later on, right, then you can start to bypass these chambers and you can go into different types of manipulations. But it's really important that if you guys are training, if you're just starting off training, or training with Kali Center is new for you, it's really important that you're developing the full range of motion, because you're learning where the full arcs of these strikes are at. And you need to know where the full arc of these strikes are in order to later on be able to protect your hand and know how to navigate the weapon, fold the weapon, pass the weapon through, so that way you don't end up running it into yourself or making some sort of technical error that you're going to end up getting hit or hurting yourself, right? So it's very important that we understand the full range of motion and the full arcs of these strikes. As you progress, we'll be breaking it down. You'll be able to minimize the movement because you'll have the understanding of where the strike is in space. So you'll have more options what to do with it. All right, so that's the first drill, is figuring out 1, 2, 3, and 4 angles on those diagonal strikes. Now, one of the things here when we're striking here, when we're training, is that we want to make sure we are pulling the strike through. Like we're pulling it, we're pulling it. We're not pushing the strike into the target. We're pulling the strike through the target. I think I've talked about this in some videos before. Bring you over to Bob over here. Bob's a little dirty. He's been guarding the garden fort. So he's been doing a good job. He'll get a wash up if you guys are worried about him and how he's being treated. He's being treated unfairly in today's society. Oh well, he's okay. He'll be fine. He's just rubber. So let's take a look at the difference. We're going to take a look right at the stick and then also at the knife. So a lot of times in Kali, what I see people doing is that they are pushing their weapon through, hitting their target and pushing their weapon through. And this is where you're going to get this kind of stickage. That weapon kind of grabs onto the target, and sometimes it gets stuck, or it's going to cause friction and slow you down. If you push this thing through, you know, as if this thing is going to get jammed or lodged into somebody's neck. That means it can happen, but that means you're not striking properly. So we want to pull the weapon through and pull the weapon through, and it's not going to get stuck. You're going to be able to start to maximize and develop what we call the follow through of the strike. Okay? If we push, you're not getting a good follow through of the strike. So you have to pull it right there. I mean, that strike right there with the bolo, this person's done. It doesn't take much. You know, sometimes people think that they're like Terminator or something, made out of like liquid titanium. Right? You know, we come through, boom, right there, that's it. It ain't gonna get stuck. It's not gonna get stuck in there, you know? Oh, if you can cut a tatami mat in half, which is more dense than your neck, it's not gonna get stuck, guys. It's not. You know, if you cut down into like the clavicle, sure, you're going through a lot of bone, a lot of muscle, a lot of mass. But why would you be hitting there? Right? We gotta train targeting. We gotta train accuracy. You know, so if you hit them right in the head here, you go right for the neck, and you're pulling the strike through, it's not going to get stuck. At least you're going to severely reduce your chances. And something really odd has to happen if it's going to get stuck. Okay? So same thing with the stick. I see a lot of people who will push this weapon, and yeah, it's going to get stuck if you're pushing the weapon in. You know, maybe if you're doing some sort of crash entry or something like that. But that's why then with the blade you have what's called draw cuts, and you cut the weapon out. You don't sit there and try to pry it out. You cut it out. You know, and there's an actual technique to do that, which is going to help a lot more, get the blade moving faster. You know, so if you push, yeah, it's going to get stuck if you're going into it. You got to go through the path of the arc of the cut. You got to go with the blade edge, right? Right there, right through. Boom. Doesn't matter. Boom. It's not going to get stuck if you're pulling it through. So, pull your strikes. So we're going through these basic angles right here. I might hit them, but pull it, pull it, pull it, and pull it. Pull your strikes. So all your strikes, make sure they're not starting from the shoulder. Make sure they're not starting from the pecs. All of your strikes should be starting off right here from the lats. They're all being initiated from the lats. You're pulling through your lats. Pull, 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 all the way, right? So that's going to help you generate power, generate speed, generate follow through. Right there, it's going to help you. If you want to generate the power of these lats, number one, train your mechanics. Train them slowly, right? And then challenge them. I'll give you a second drill that you can do, second exercise you can do to train your mechanics. Right here. This is why I got my home gym. Train your lat activation with doing pull-ups. 1. Okay, that way you're getting your lats activated. You're getting the pulling power activated. That's what you want in your cuts. Okay, so that's the first drill, basic cuts. If you have that down, your diagonals, 1, 2, 3, and 4, then you can just apply that to the other angles, which is either the horizontal angles and your vertical angles on both sides, or vertical up, all initiating from the lats, all being pulled. All right, very good, very good. Strikes right there. So work those out. Just start off with your diagonals 1, 2, 3, and 4. Focus on the pulling energy. Make sure that you're rotating your hips and shoulders. All right, when you strike your forehand, you should be looking over your right shoulder when you're done. When you strike your backhand, you should be looking over your left shoulder. Don't overturn where you're trying to look over your back. You just look over your shoulder. Okay? I'm going to say this as a side note. If you're training in Filipino martial arts and you're not doing pull-ups, I don't know what you're doing, man. You gotta train your body. You gotta work your body out. You gotta get this thing athletic. You gotta get this thing strong, balanced, flexible, coordinated, calibrated. You know, you gotta get all these things worked in. Okay, so. Right, you should be doing fundamental exercises along with your Kali. That's the 12th area of Kali, which is the healing, the meditation, the fitness arts, right? That's the 12th area of Kali, is conditioning your body and conditioning your mind. So make sure that you are spending time on that. All right, that's not separate. That's part of the Kali training. So you want to make sure you're doing exercises like push-ups, pull-ups, squats, and then your core exercises and your grip exercises. It's very, very important. Okay, very important. So work out those cuts. The second one is our thrusts. We have 3 basic thrusts. Okay? We have our center line thrusts, we have our backhand thrusts, and we have our forehand thrusts right there. We have our center line thrust going right up the center line. We have a backhand thrust coming off the left side of our body, and then a forehand thrust which is coming out of our right side of our body. Okay? And we can just cut that back down, so that way we can start right there at the beginning. We have 1, 2, 3, cut it back down. 1, 2, 3, slash it back down. 1, 2, 3, slash it back down. Again, on the mechanics of the thrust, a lot of times people think that this is all thrust, is all pushing, but it's really the way we do it here at College Center. It's not. Again, you are pulling through the rotation of your torso, and you're getting this torso rotation through the rotating of your hips, meaning you are initiating the hip rotation through your hip flexors and your glutes, and you're getting the shoulder rotation through the engagement of your lats. So from there, I'm pulling that thrust through using my hip flexors, my glutes, and my lats. Okay, that's the same thing with all the cuts. Boom, and then right here, I'm initiating this rotation in my torso by pulling my lats. Boom, same thing the other way, pulling my lats. And you're gonna get faster, better follow throughs, better stability on the weapon, so you can thrust them. You don't have any of this weird wrist folding or anything like that. I'll show you guys something real quick. Sometimes I get these comments of like, you can't thrust like this. Why? Pop, right there, man. Pop, right there. Boom, right there. Pop, right there. You can thrust like that. I didn't hurt my thumb one time. You were like, you're gonna hurt your thumb. I didn't hurt my thumb. I did pretty good. But you're coming through with that whole torso. So you're pulling your torso around in rotation. You're not pushing the weapon, right? So we can start putting these into more of a full drill. Come out 1, 2, 3, 4. Roll it over. Thrust. Backhand. Forehand. Cut. That's a whole drill that we can work right there, working in all these basic strikes, cuts and thrusts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 strikes right there. Going from this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8 right there. Do it with me a couple of times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, we could bring it down right here. Do a little jaw cut. 5, 6, 7, 8. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So work that out. Very simple, very simple, very important. Very, very important. If you guys have something that you can strike, you have a bob dummy, a heavy bag, a stack of tires, anything. You can take a 4x4, right, and you can concrete it into the ground or into a bucket, wrap it with some foam, and then you got a good, hitting pole. You have something to hit, find something to hit, because you have to get impact training, and then start experimenting with the difference between pushing your strike into the target and then pulling the strike through the target. Experiment with the differences, and you'll definitely start experiencing what I'm talking about. You'll start really feeling the difference between the pushing versus the pulling, and you'll probably be like, I get it. This is why college centers, this is why they're pulling their strikes, right? That's not to say there is no pushing. There's times, like I said, if you're doing a crash entry or something like that, but that's different. But the basic strikes, right, we're pulling these strikes. Well, even if it's broken, right, we're pulling into that, and we're pulling the strike back out with the lat. I mean, right? Look at how much the back is actually engaged. I don't know if you can see it, right? But the back is very engaged. It's like archery. When they talk about back tension, same thing. All right. Hopefully this is going to help you guys out. I don't want to keep going and make it too crazy, too long. I want you guys to get out there and train. But hopefully this will help you out. If you're training it, it will help you out. So work on it, guys. Work on it. I'll go through some comments real quick. What's happening? Good morning. Good morning. What's happening? Why is twirling more difficult with a shorter stick than a standard 28-inch stick? Any tips for twirling a shorter one? The reason why it's harder is because you don't have the momentum on the end of the stick, right? Like there's not a whole lot of momentum if you're twirling your stick. So, do I have it with me? Yeah. So this stick is cut down to like a traditional daga size. So obviously it's not going to have the same momentum, right, as a 28-inch stick or longer. It's just not going to have that, you know. Or you know, like the bolo. This is a 15-inch blade, so it's roughly 24, 25 inches total in length. All right, this is going to have way more manipulation ability because, well, one, because of the balance of the blade, the shape and the balance of the blade, but it's longer. So when you're looking at these, like, you know, 20-inch, 19-inch, I think this is like a 19-inch stick right here. You're losing leverage. You're losing leverage. So you're losing momentum ability. That's why when you start, you know, there's a length right around that 28-inch total length, 28 inches to, you know, roughly about 30 inches. When you start going longer than that, you start losing manipulation. That like 23, 24 inch, when you start going shorter than that, you start losing manipulation. So that's why in Kali, that's why we begin. This is a good question, by the way. This is why we begin with somewhere between a 25-inch, you know, 26-inch stick or bolo and a 48-inch stick or bolo, is because this is the sweet spot for leverage based on how the anatomy of the human body is designed. You gotta remember something about Kali, is that Kali, this is not the monkey style of fighting. This isn't the crane style, the dragon style, right, snake style, or anything like that. We're not interested in how all these other animals and creatures fight. Kali is the science of how human beings fight with weaponry. And the reason why it's with weaponry is because we have the advantage of technology, right? We've been fighting with weapons far longer as a species, and far more and greater as a species than we fight with our empty hands. You know, empty hands nowadays, more of a sport, or in the street, it's more of like a dominance thing, right? Alpha male versus beta male, alpha female versus beta female. So that's really where the empty hands comes in. Or if you're just kind of like you don't have weapons on you, then you got to use your natural tools, right? But when you look at the history of humans, all the way back from, cave people, they started picking up rocks. They started picking up sticks and then sharpening sticks and fastening rocks to sticks and using fire and, right? I mean, as Homo sapiens, which is the species we are, right? I mean, we fought off and extincted all these other types of human species with our throwing weapons and our projectile weapons. We just had better technology. We didn't go and wrestle them. We didn't go and box them. Those are great martial arts, but that's not how we fought off and extinct the Neanderthals. We used weapons. So for hundreds of thousands of years, we've been fighting predominantly with weapons as the Homo sapiens species, as the humans that are known of as humans today. So this is what Kali is, guys. This is the science of how human beings really fight, naturally fight, and gravitate towards our technology. So we're interested in how does the human body work with the intelligence, ability, or capability of our mind. That's the art of Kali. Okay? That's why it's not a weapon-based system or method. It is a weapon fighting method. That's what Kali is. Our empty hands, these are weapons. In the world of Kali, this is a weapon category. But what's better to hit somebody with? The bolo or your hands? If you had to end it quickly, right now, you don't even want to fight. You just want to end it. Obviously, the bolo, right? So that's a good question. But that's what happens, right? It's just the design of the body. Some tools are just going to be better than others. And Kali, we have found that to be true. So that's a great question, by the way. I like questions like that. Hey, what's happening? Good morning. Happy Chick says hi to Bob. That's nice. No one ever really says hi to Bob. Yeah, there's cicadas going all over the place right now. Poor Bob being battered. He doesn't mind. That's his job. That's what he gets paid to do. Gets out. He comes out here, keeps the garden in line, makes sure no deer are trying to jump over the fence, and then he gets his happy quality time with me. Can't see the video. Sorry, man. I don't know what to tell you. It might be connections all funny. How does the action for thrust compare to strikes? Follow through. Coming out of strikes. I think I already answered that. Right? It's the same action. I thrusted Bob. I think I already answered that. I thrusted it both with the bolo and with the knife. Love from India. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. It is PTK. I used to train in PTK. It's the basic knife thrusting form from sock grip from PTK. That's why it looks like PTK. It is a PTK drill. You know, I do PTK drills. I've got Inasano drills. I got fencing drills. I've been doing this for a long time. So I pull out from what I like from the different styles and systems that I've trained. But I'm not PTK, so don't make that mistake. I'm no longer associated with any PTK group or organization. Haven't been for over half a decade. The thrusts almost look like they come from holding back on the draw to the point up. You can reverse quickly. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, you can, you can, the way that the mechanics are designed and the way that we've kind of fine-tuned the mechanics at Kali Center is that you have these certain points where you can renegotiate your tactic and you can manipulate the weapon and get yourself out of any kind of danger. If you miss those certain points, then you're kind of SOL. So then it's all reliance on can you control your momentum through footwork and the proper adjustment of range. Yeah, hit the like button, guys. Hit it. Tasmania. That's cool. Knife drills on the training apparatus. Oh, on my lines dummy? Yeah, they're all the same drills because it's all the same lines, but yeah, I'll probably get to that. I'll do it in the sponsored area. I'll do some videos for you guys in the sponsored area of how to train with one of those things. They're really easy to make. They're easy to train with, but it's kind of more up here, and you just have to know how to use it. So I'll do a video for the sponsored people here on the channel on how to actually train with the apparatus. And I'll show you guys different examples through the different weapon categories, so that way you can get a good idea. So if you want to make one, then I'll also do some basic drills that you can get started with. I'll try to get those videos filmed this week. I think it's something to replace twirling for my warm-up. I use short sticks. Any ideas? No, just, you know, the wrist conditioning exercises are really important. So when you're looking at the conditioning exercises like this, okay, and all of these, right, your watiques, your floretes, which is rotating the wrist in the opposite direction, these are really important exercises that you don't want to skip, especially in your first like 2 to 3 years of training poly. You want to get a lot of time in with those because it's going to help develop the, the flexibility in the wrist and the forearm, which is going to help to strengthen your muscles, your tendons, and it's going to help increase the endurance in your grip and in the forearms right here. Because this is all responsible for your grip right here. So you do not want to skip those exercises. I mean, you want to train those things every single day as part of your warm-up, and if you can, part of your cool-down as often as you can, every single day, especially in the beginning. Just make sure, again, that when you're doing these exercises, don't be opening your hands, okay? Sometimes I get people that are sending me videos for me to watch and all that stuff, and they're like, I see them opening their hands. That's not doing you any good. You got to keep them closed. You don't need to death grip it, but you got to keep them closed so that way you get this full rotation in the wrist. So some people will open their hands to kind of cheat it, but you see how my wrist isn't actually rotating? Or if I only open them a little bit or loosen the grip, you see how it's not getting a full rotation as it is now? You need the momentum of the stick to get that around, right? So if you're training in an environment that's like really enclosed, first of all, you should be able to do this, right? Like, this is an 8-foot roof, so this is the same as, if I was in my house. Maybe it's 8.5, I don't know, but it's roughly about the same. Guys, these drills right here, you should be able to do these in any environment. It's not going, maybe 6 inches above my head, right? So don't skip these exercises, not at all. If you're training indoors, the strike that's probably going to hit the ceiling is the break over of the angle 4 because it has the most extension above the head, right? So if that's happening, then you got to get low on that angle 4. Okay, don't necessarily go with a shorter weapon because you're negating yourself from certain developments in your body that is going to cause problems later on, especially if you are training with more advanced people like Tom and Ollie and Kevin and and those guys. So don't skip those developments. That's so important. There's some things you just can't substitute. You got to put your time into those things. Okay, very, very important. The natural option for humans to fight is use a weapon. That is true. Very true. It's not these. It's technology. It's tools. Weapons are an equalizer. So weapons at the minimal requirement is an equalizer, but we want weapons that are really technically going to put the odds in our favor, right? So if our opponent has 1 sword, I want 2 swords, right? But you got to know how to use these 2 swords, okay? If you don't know how to manipulate, if you don't know how to negotiate tactics and maneuver properly with 2 swords, don't fight with 2 swords because it's only going to become a hindrance. If you don't know how to use that area of poly, right, then don't don't use that. You got to train. You got to develop that skill. Okay, but at worst case scenario, we're hoping that it will equalize the opportunity in the fight. But preferred, we want greater value in the fight, right? We want the odds to be in our favor, not equal. But equal is better than the odds in their favor, obviously. That's in a perfect world. I mean, you don't always get that, but that's, that's what we shoot for. That's the mentality in Kali Center. Good questions, guys. We got some good stuff coming out here. But that's good thinking, man. That's good thinking. If I have a choice, I definitely want to learn. Yeah, dude, learn. Learn. That's why we got all these almost 600 videos up here on YouTube. You just start training, man. The best fight is no fight at all. That's right. Just remove their hand and be done with it. You don't want to find out how good they actually are because they might be better than you. So in Kali, that's the mentality, right? I don't want to fight you. I don't want to know how good you are at fighting. So let me maneuver, remove your hand, and be done. And in Kali, we also have the mentality that we probably are going to have to fight multiple people as well. So you're not going to be doing too well, boxing out like 12 people who have weapons. You're going to need a weapon. And you're going to need to be really, really freaking good. Love the live stream format. Yeah, I want to do more of these, guys. I want to do more live streams because, it's just cool interaction and, it's cool. Can you cover horizontal strikes and the mechanics? I kind of did. I just kind of brushed through that. I'm building a new program right now that's going to be like a streamlined training program. I think you guys are really going to like it. I'm going to release it either towards the end of the year or beginning of next year. It's going to help you to really speed up, develop your Kali skills. It's going to be freaking awesome. It's going to blow everything out of the water. But it's the same thing, right? You pull and you pull. So it's the exact same mechanics. You pull it and you pull it. Or just jump into Kali Fundamentals DVD download or Inner Triangle and you'll get all that stuff. Need the longer stick for wrist. Gotcha. Yeah, that's going to help out a lot. I don't have access to longer ones when traveling. Yeah, I get it. That's when you can go into your wrist, flexibility exercises, all your different wrist stretches and things like that. You can do a little bit of Wittiques, but you really, for Kali, you want to be working in those rotations as much as you can. Yeah, you can do that too. You can weight the one end of your stick. That'll help too. Love to learn your footwork. Yeah, dude. So this new program that I'm developing is going to be awesome because I'm putting all this footwork into it. It's kind of like Inner Triangle, but it's going to be streamlined. So it's going to be awesome. But if you really want to focus on the footwork stuff, Inner Triangle is really where it is because we teach you all the components and then we teach you how to put everything together progressively. Just started Kali. What do you start training on? Footwork and basic mechanics. So if you caught this video, what I did in this video is really good. Check out my playlist on my channel, the 5 essential drills playlist, and that's going to bring you through different areas of Kali and the 5 essential drills that you should start training with on each of those areas. Just start off with a single and then start off with your basic footwork. Just go on to the Kali Center YouTube channel and in our search bar on the channel, just type in footwork or type in basics and it'll bring up all the videos that are really good for starting off with. Ballet is actually really hard and it's, yeah. Christy, she used to do ballet and stuff and she was showing me the different things. That's hard. Yeah, Indian clubs are really good. That's going to be good for wrist conditioning. That's a really good idea too. Cool. All right, guys, I'm going to jump out of here because this video is like double the time what I wanted it to be. To rewatch it, to rewatch the lessons, click the join button, check out becoming a member to the channel. All the replays to these lives are going to our members area of the channel for the sponsors of our channel, and that's gonna, you know, we got so many videos over there. If you want to jump on in, even the first level, which is only $1.99 a month, we're keeping it super cheap and affordable. And those sponsorships help me to continue making these videos. It helps me when, you know, I've got like Tom or someone that's out here helping me out, training videos, making videos and stuff like that. You know, because then I can room and board him, and, you know, it kind of helps balance out some of the costs, equipment, all that stuff. So if you want to become a sponsor to the channel, even the basic first level, it's $1.99 a month. Just click the join button right below any of our videos. Head on over to the channel page and wherever it says membership, and check that out. And we got so many more exclusive training videos that we have right on in that area. And then if you have any like special video requests as a sponsor to the channel, you can send me that request in a comment, and then I'll get around to making that video to answer your questions or anything like that. We're going to be having, coming up very soon in the near future, we're going to be putting on some sparring videos. That way you can start seeing some of this stuff in application in sparring, you know, whether it's with the fencing masks on or not, doesn't really matter for us. It's all the same. For us, sparring is just a drill. It's not like a holy grail in training or anything. But we will be doing a lot more of that stuff, you know, showing that stuff over there, so that way you guys can check it out. And we'll probably be pointing out key little things for you to kind of be able to start recognizing. Look at this tactic. Look at the footwork being applied. Here's where the horizontal comes in play. Look at the broken strike, the circular strike, the doubles, the thrust, all these different things that we can kind of highlight. So that way you can really start educating your eye and building not only knowledge, but you can start building understanding around that knowledge. Right? And then when you come back to all these different videos in your training, you kind of have a better idea of the goals that you're aiming for, and you have a better idea of how to get there, right? So that's what's happening on the members area. Some stuff is beginner, some videos is more advanced, and then other videos are going to be kind of more educational to help you start building a higher understanding of what's going on in the Kali stuff. All right, thanks a lot for hanging out with me. Thanks a lot for training with me, and I'll catch you guys next time. All right, out of here. Let's see.